Hey, welcome to the episode 1 of geekinformer.net's The Rant. Starring, well, me, Dustin, Josh, and some guy that didn't tell us his name.
He's just some hobo we drug off the street.
Yeah. He had a Star Trek hat on, that's why we brought him.
We figured he was good enough for the show.
Yeah, and we asked him if he had any money to pay us or anything to get on the show, and he brought this rubber chicken here. It's actually a deluxe rubber chicken. I don't know what a deluxe rubber chicken does, but when you squeeze it, it doesn't make a noise or anything.
It's clearly better than the normal rubber chicken.
Yeah. All right, so what are we going to talk about on our first episode of The Rant?
Well, we have a box of topics that we need to draw from.
Really? Wow! And look, it's a pirate lunchbox. Yar.
Yar.
Yar. Well, what should we bring out today?
The fall of Wizkids.
The fall of Wizkids. Do you remember Wizkids?
I don't know how I could not. They produced some of the worst crap on the planet.
Now, be nice.
No. They did have some good ideas, but as approved play went on, they got worse and worse and worse.
I believe it probably was because the company got too big too quickly, and they didn't know how to best
You know, you see that a lot. Not just with the gaming industry, but I know retail industry, a lot of times you get companies go, and then overnight they're gone. They never make it past the quasi-local spectrum. Food industry as well. Jack in the Box on top, and back in the 80s, gone.
Right.
That they can come back serving salmonella to your children. But Wizkids is a current topic. Probably should tell people who don't know what Wizkids is.
Probably. I was just going to mention that.
But
anybody want to care to start or?
Well,
go ahead.
Wizkids all started with one game called Mage Knight. Mage Knight was a simple clicks game, the first clicks game, where all the stats were actually on the dial of the model.
Which was later patented by WizKids.
Correct.
And used for nearly every game they did.
Absolutely.
Incidentally, our hobo was a former employee of
Sorry. But anyway, this Mage Knight game, which was built off fantasy models. You guys picked faction, you had a build point, you played, you rolled 2d6, match stats, and there you go. After that, they started coming out with other games such as Hero Clicks, Horror Clicks.
I think you forgot one, the most important and stunning game of all time.
Sports Clicks.
Sports Clicks.
Clicks, yes, it was a short run game, I remember it.
That was an awesome idea.
Well, here's where marketing needs to be shot. We have a clicks game, which your typical nerds are going to play. Let's put sports stars, half of them, half our nerds. I mean, granted, we get some of the split population there, but most of our turbo nerds that are playing clicks don't care who these people are. And anybody who does would rather be out playing the game.
I play card games where I pretend I'm a wizard dueling another wizard. So I'm going to buy this brand new set of A-Rod.
I don't think it works the same way.
It didn't. That's one reason, one of many reasons WizKids went under. Of course, it also featured the combat dial, Sports Clicks.
Yes.
Which many of the other games that WizKids had featured the combat dial. At this point, though, WizKids started out as a small company in Seattle. Well, not Seattle, but very south of Seattle.
They don't admit to that. They just say Seattle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, it's next to Seattle. How about that? Very close to other gaming companies such as Wizards of the Coast, Privateer Press, and a couple others that I can't remember.
Makes you wonder, what is it about Seattle?
There's nothing there.
Except every publisher
publishing
in
gaming
the United States, unless you're in New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
New York or Seattle.
Well, there was where do we put all this gaming stuff? Well, we got to pick where there's like no one else in the United States.
Because
Seattle.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what do you do with all the trash? You put it in Jersey.
Yeah.
Right.
Just kick the gamers to Seattle. That really sucks. That means all our good conventions are on the West Coast. And
We are on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Well, anyways, back to the topic here. But Wizkids started as a small company. They started working on... Actually, Mage Knight was one of their first games.
It was their first game that included the clicks.
They had a couple other games, a couple of miniatures games, Crimson Skies, some other things. They were miniatures, but they didn't have a combat dial.
Not at that point.
Creepy Freaks, some of the other
Creepy
games
Freaks.
that we choose not to mention. But
One of the better ones.
they, well, maybe. But once they introduced Hero Clicks, featuring comic book characters and such, they started to take off and get bigger.
Okay.
Eventually,
let-
though. Okay, all right.
Let me point it because you struck a nerve.
Well, mind you, Hero Clicks is what caused Topps, the major manufacturer of sports cards, Sports Clicks? I don't know, to purchase Wizkids.
All right. Well, when you say that Hero Clicks, now all of us have played Hero Clicks. You know, we all know featured comic book characters.
Yes.
I'm going to have to interject and say barely.
Okay.
One of WizKids' greatest blunders is a Hero Click set. I mean, besides taking every set and having one crappy Batman who usually sucked and didn't really do what he could do in the comics, and a Superman that was way too expensive to put in your point belt. Oh, let me add all the good characters like that you know and love are ultra rare. The entire rest of the set was fillers of characters from 30 years ago that appeared in one issue,
Of a title no one read.
and they expected us to care.
That's not true.
How?
Criminals were in every episode of every comic book.
Oh, I forgot. Then we decided to buff
brought them
out. Then we decided to buff out. This was early clicks before they decided that we needed to scour the comic world for villains and heroes nobody's heard of.
All right, if I'm playing a game, I mean, the draw of it was comic characters.
Right.
I want to play comic characters. I want to play Superman. Well, maybe not Superman, but I want to play Batman. I want to play Booster Gold. I want to play, Wolverine and Spider-Man, things like that. Not... Help me out here. My favorite, one of my favorite, random henchmen.
Rookie Thug.
Okay, yes, things like that.
Guardsmen.
Yes, guys that no one gives a damn about.
At least it came out with Jamie Madrox.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
true.
And even better is that in the later sets, instead of giving these people clicks, these underlings, so to speak, now they just give you a pog that has stats on them
Well,
called
okay.
a token.
You know what? We really shouldn't criticize WizKids for that. Because here's how this happens. Remember the early 90s when Pogs were big?
Yeah.
Ever wonder what happened to all those Pogs?
They got shipped to Seattle.
There we go.
Ah.
It's recycling in action. And now that WizKids is gone, nobody in the gaming industry is recycling. That was maybe their one good thing.
Well, I have to point out, while we're talking about characters, when they talked about the Atom, the guy that could shrink in the comics, when they bring out the dial, it's a combat dial, and it says the Atom. There's nothing on it. And it was great. It was almost like a joke when you open up this case, you open up the booster and you pull it out and you're like, okay, Superman, cool, and like, ooh, Batman, oh yeah, Wonder. Oh man, I got shorted here. There's nothing on it. Oh, the Atom. Oh, damn it.
Which would have been great, but they kept doing it. They had an LE Invisible Woman. They had, what else did they do with just a dial? And if you
They
never
had a
play,
Wasp.
yeah, you never play with those pieces because they're a pain in the ass to turn. Like you can't really without the rings. Those were great.
Kind of thought you're in a superhero yourself with a power ring or...
Yeah. But and then later on, the rings didn't work anymore because they changed the way they did the dials, and like you're sitting there, oh crap! I just on-based my LE Bruce Banner that I picked up for like $30. Well, maybe not because Bruce Banner sucks, but you understand.
Yeah. Why don't you just play the Hulk?
We could, but then it wasn't LE.
Oh, I see.
And the problem with most of those models is that it was so big it covered up the combat dial so you couldn't read it.